Welcome to Construct Tech TV, and I'm Peggy Smedley. In 1850, California becomes the 31st state in the Union. The city of San Diego was incorporated with a population of only 650. One might even say the city has had its eye on sustainability from the very beginning. And as a result, it has been delivering quality water for more than 100 years. And that San Diego has been focused on developing complex and sophisticated water systems from day one. However, with an average local rainfall of only 10 inches, it does not have an abundant local water supply. Thus, San Diego officials quickly realized they needed to invest in an infrastructure to capture local rainfall and import water. Jumping forward, in 2015, the city implemented Climate Action Plan goals. Now, they include increasing the use of renewable energy to achieve 100% citywide by 2035, expanding a green business program to increase energy efficiency education, and implementing a smart adaptive control street lighting retrofit plan. Let's talk a bit more about this last point. The city is installing between 13,000 and 15,000 smart streetlights. The new streetlights are expected to reduce energy costs by 60%. The benefits extend far beyond just saving some money. The smart sensors will improve parking, traffic safety, and air quality. The data will direct drivers to open parking spaces, or even more important, guide first responders during emergencies. The sensors will track carbon emissions. They will also identify intersections that need adjustments to protect pedestrians and cyclists from motorists. The data gathered will support San Diego's Vision Zero strategy to eliminate traffic fatalities and injuries. Installation of the smart streetlights will begin this summer. The project is expected to be completed by the fall. The city has also been awarded a $1.9 million grant to pilot an advanced smart city open urban platform. San Diego is one of the 10 U.S. cities that is part of Envision America. All this progress is starting to truly pay off. San Diego ranks 8th nationally in clean power production and 13th on the National Energy Efficiency Scoreboard. The future is very bright for San Diego in more ways than one. That's a city-connected San Diego. According to the CDC, opioid overdose deaths have quadrupled since 1999. Now think about this. Many workers turn to these drugs as a result of injuries in the hope of reducing pain or discomfort in an effort to still fulfill the responsibilities on our job sites. Now this is impacting construction, job site safety, and productivity. So on today's show, we're going to delve into this and some of the challenges and perhaps address some of the much needed solutions. So here to join me again is Carl Heinlein, the Senior Safety Consultant at the American Contractors Insurance Group and the Director at Large for the American Society of Safety Engineers. Carl, thank you for joining me again.
Always great to be here, thank you.
So Carl, today, this is a tough one. We're talking about opioid use, and it's serious. I mean, we have so many deaths. Now it's affecting our job sites, and it's affecting the way workers aren't able to perform right now, and they have to, in some cases, because they're in so much pain on the job site. What do we do?
Oh, this is a societal issue. You know, we thought for years because it was a prescription drug it was okay, but what we found now, and we're finding out more and more each and every day, that this is an epidemic, and it's impacting our folks that work on the construction sites as well as in their home lives as well. So,
and think about it, some of this, they don't even know it's happening, that they're getting addicted to these drugs, they're using it to relieve the pain, and it's becoming more and more severe. But what is it overall, and how is it affecting their ability to perform just common job site functions? And they don't even realize it because the need is becoming so great.
We're a proud industry, and we have people that want to work very hard, and they typically, with a little bit of pain, they want to work through it and they want to go to the job. But as we continue to add opioids to reduce this pain, it's impacting quality of work, it's impacting relationships. It's really exposing them to safety hazards. The opioid issue is, in a lot of cases, particularly with our smaller contractors, they're really having trouble even addressing it at this point.
Let's talk about when we say opiates, I guess for me, I'm trying to think about what drugs are we talking? What are the most common on the construction job site that we're seeing?
You would see Percocet and Vicodin. So I have an injury to my shoulder, I go to the doctor, they prescribe some pain medication to reduce the pain. Now it starts with Vicodin or a Percocet, something of that nature, to reduce the pain. All in good thoughts. But what's happened now is they're starting to become very comfortable of taking these more and more and more, and then we start on this path to destruction.
And when we see that happening, what do we do as a society? What do we do as a construction company when we see a worker who injures themselves and now they have these drugs and they can't seem to get off it because they've used it for the injury, but now they've got to go back to work, but they found that they can't get off these drugs? It's a catch-22 that we're having to struggle with in our job sites.
It is a devastating cycle. Someone gets hurt on our job, let's try to prevent it from happening. But if there is an injury or something that happens, we want to make sure we try to bring them back as whole as they possibly can be. And in some cases, that may be pain management. We have to really do a holistic look at this, from our wellness programs to our health care, to our insurance companies, to our leadership, to working with our workers to understand this is a safe place if there's an issue to talk to us. Really, right now, this is a silent killer. No one wants to talk about it.
So do we have employees that need to report other employees that they see this, or is it the individual now that says, look, I've got a problem and I don't know how to solve it? Or is it that we have workers that don't even know they have a problem, but they're just in so much pain and they have to turn to these drugs because they need them now?
Sure. They want to work. They want to provide for their families, and we have great people that are out there. So it's all three that you talked about. It's an issue with workers. Do I want to tell on another worker? Probably not. Then you have workers that don't truly understand what's going on with the opioids. And then you have organizations that right now they're trying to scramble, how do I deal with this? What do I do? Is that an insurance issue? Is that a safety issue? Is that where do I go for the help? And that's another issue, is where are your resources at?
And let's talk about that. What happens now when a worker knows he needs help? Does he go and tell his company that I got hurt on the job, I was prescribed these drugs, now I have a problem, I'm not really a drug addict? I mean, because now you're put in there saying, are you a drug addict? You're not really. You're someone's now who's addicted or stuck on these pain pills, but you were a normal person who had a problem. I mean, how do you deal with that?
Again, you've heard me talk about this before. It really comes down to the company culture. It has to be a safe place because if you're not able to report something or feel comfortable for that, that's going to be a quiet killer. It's going to be a silent killer. No one wants to say anything for fear of retribution, fear of trouble, fear of I'm ratting out a coworker. So there's a lot of negativity to it. So it's better to be quiet than say anything. So within companies that are really addressing this proactively, there's a lot of education, there's a lot of openness, and again, they're using their employee assistance programs, their EAPs, to help advise their employees. The other thing is, if you're not working with your healthcare provider, to have them come in and do educational opportunities to help these folks, because it's not only on the job, but it's these families when they go home. They may be great and safe and taken care of on the job, but when they go home, they may have a cabinet or a family member or something says, hey, if you're hurting here, I've got one of these. So again, it's on and off the job that we're really having issues. So
we have insurance companies that are stepping up and saying, as healthcare providers, we want to help because we don't want our insured to be addicted. We want to do something. So there are insurance companies that are stepping up saying, let's do what we can as well.
Absolutely. Again, this is one of these that, as we could tell, it's at the epidemic proportion in not only our industry, but society. So we're seeing our insurance companies, our industry leaders, our associations, societies, really trying to work together to figure out how do we pick this lock? How do we work better together to solve this issue? Because it's going to take time, effort, and resources to address this but it really has to start with the company level, the individual level, to feel comfortable to say, I've got an issue.
Carl, I love when you come on the show, because when we talk about how do we keep our workers safe and getting them back home to their families, that's our number one concern, right?
Correct.
Carl, thank you again for being with us.
Always great to be here. Thank you.
All right, thank you for watching our show today. And this was Carl Heinlein. He's the Senior Safety Consultant at the American Contractors Insurance Group, and he's the Director at Large at the American Society of Safety Engineers. And that's your Safety Zone for today. The City of San Diego's Energy and Sustainability Division is part of the Environmental Services Department. It was formed in response to the 2001 energy crisis, and it aims to pursue the city's long-term goal of energy independence. Further, San Diego does this with the use of innovative technologies. Here to chat with me today is Jack Clark. He is the Deputy Director of the City of San Diego's Environmental Services Department's Energy and Sustainability Division. Jack, welcome to the show.
Hi, Peggy. Thank you for having me.
So, Jack, let's talk about San Diego's energy efficiency policy. What are you guys actually doing right now?
Well, again, thank you for having us. In late 2015, the City Council passed the Climate Action Plan here for the City of San Diego, which included two energy efficiency goals. One was a goal of reducing our energy consumption by 15% by 2020, and an additional 25% in energy efficiency conservation by 2035. So we're doing a lot of energy efficiency work around the city's municipal buildings and facilities.
I know I said they were policies, but they're really actually projects that you're focusing on and making the city move more effectively. So when you work on these, why did the city decide to do this right now?
Well, the City of San Diego has a long history of energy conservation, energy efficiency priorities, and distributed solar priorities. So we've been doing this work on and off for many years. But like I said, in late 2015, the city passed the Climate Action Plan, which is a set of policies to reduce energy use in particular, along with reducing transportation and other policies, but really as a goal to reduce our greenhouse gas emissions. But as we know, we do projects on a day-to-day basis, and so energy efficiency projects, we're lucky enough to know that there is also a positive financial return on investment when you're doing these types of projects in municipal facilities.
So looking at these, would you say the City of San Diego right now is the leader in implementing these projects that you're looking out into?
We are certainly one of the leaders. There are a lot of cities across the country that we work with closely and we share best practices, but in certain regards, we are absolutely a leader in this space, yes.
So are there specific projects that you're really proud of right now?
We have a number of projects going on.
Look at your face just lit up. So Jack, there must be some that you're excited about.
I love what I do. One project comes to mind is our intelligent street lighting project. Right now, the city has an inventory of 60,000 streetlights that we own, operate, and maintain across the city. We're currently retrofitting 14,000 of those streetlights to LED fixtures. As part of this project, we're also adding smart sensors, 3,400 smart sensors to a subset of those 14,000 streetlights. So we're actively reducing electricity consumption, utilizing these updated LED fixtures, and then we're deploying smart sensors to these same lighting fixtures that have other capabilities. So we're actually very excited about that. We're proving that these retrofits can save the city money, and by the same token, by saving that money, we can pay for these sensors and provide our community with better, smarter services as a result. It's quite an exciting project, and we're sharing those best practices across the country and internationally, and in that regard, the City of San Diego is a leader.
So I guess looking at that, is there specific advice then, because you're doing this, that you would give other cities because you've gone through this, you're doing it, and you'd say, here's what I would tell you to maybe avoid any stumbles or any successes that you're experiencing with that?
Sure. So the City of San Diego, like many municipalities across the country, are transitioning from how we would typically do project management years ago, where it would be maybe one-offs in different facilities or buildings. Planning is really the key. One of the other exciting projects that we're working on right now is a municipal energy strategy. So we're bringing different departments and different divisions to the forefront of our planning activities so that everyone can participate and paint a very clear, comprehensive vision for the city to reach our energy and sustainability goals. So I would say planning is key, and understanding that energy savings is really sort of the doorway to a smarter city. And so as we transition into a smarter city, we're very much trying to make data-driven decisions. And that is exciting, and it is a transition, and it would be one of those best practices and lessons learned that I would share with other municipalities across the country.
So in your opinion, would you say that that is the best advice then you would give, I think, other cities as the biggest challenge or the biggest success when you look at sustainability issues when you're looking at this? Because right now it seems like sustainability is really one that you want to look at when you're kind of thinking about big city transitions.
I'll say it this way. Energy and sustainability, if we're not all on the same page at the city, that is a challenge, right?
Yeah, that's
Because
a hard one, right?
we all have a role there. It's not just deploying smarter technologies, it's really how we utilize those technologies in our day-to-day office life. So we need to have everyone on the same page in the city. So communication and education is absolutely fundamental. But in order to maximize that full potential, we have to plan accordingly. So we're taking that challenge in a very large city and saying, okay, how do we achieve the best practice and overcome that challenge? And the way to do that is really through comprehensive planning and using key departments and divisions to be part of that planning process. So that municipal energy strategy is a best practice that will help us address those challenges.
But technology changes along the way, and mindsets change, and politicians change. So there's a lot of things that get thrown in the mix there that you have to think about when you're doing some of these plannings, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, we're currently deploying 8 megawatts of solar on different cities, on the city's different facilities and buildings. And we've been deploying rooftop solar and canopy solar applications on parking lots for the better part of 10 years. And so, yes, those technologies change, the financials change, the rate settings change, all of these change. So it's important to have a very robust set of policies and initiatives that we can reflect upon, because we are working in a very dynamic market. One of the benefits that we have here in San Diego is a progressive and very committed city council and mayor across the political spectrum. We've got everyone buying into these goals. And then from a statewide level, the state of California has been committed to clean energy for decades. So we're working very closely with the state Public Utilities Commission, State Energy Commission, different independent and private businesses. It really is a matter of the city showing best practices to our community and also having businesses support the city in those initiatives, because we want businesses to look at the city, look at what we're doing, and then deploy these same types of practices to their own buildings and their own facilities as well.
Well, I'll tell you, Jack, it's really exciting to hear all the things you do, and I want to thank you for spending time with us, because it sounds like the city of San Diego is really pulling it all together.
We're having a great time. We're very busy, and thank you for having us. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Jack Clark, Deputy Director of the City of San Diego's Environmental Services Department, Energy and Sustainability. And that's someone you should know. The City of San Diego and GE have launched a program to turn streetlights into intelligent connected devices. The intelligent lighting platform can sense sound, light, and environmental conditions. With this in place, the city will be able to collect real-time sensor data. On this segment, we will take a closer look at the technology that makes it all work. I'm so pleased to have Austin Ashe, General Manager of Intelligent Cities from GE, on the program with me today. Austin, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Peggy.
So Austin, let's talk a little bit about GE and the smart cities technology that you're doing to help the city of San Diego.
Yeah, would love to. We are partnered with the city of San Diego in deploying what's going to be the world's largest IoT sensor for cities platform in the world. The technology allows for a city to repurpose their street lighting infrastructure into digital infrastructure with a means of sensor capabilities that are unlike anything seen before. Sensors that can see things, hear things, they can bring about and extract a lot of information and data from its environment and make that data available for building applications that actually solve some of the city's biggest challenges to date, all through applications.
Now, we talk about sensors being so important in city deployments. Let's talk about what makes this one so different when you talk about it in the world.
Yeah. So what we have done is actually taken this digital infrastructure and made it almost like a smartphone. In other words, think about a smartphone and what it is. It's got 15 to 16 different sensors inside of this device. Well, our platform called City IQ has upwards of 30 sensors in it. And it can actually have even more sensing capabilities on top of that, all through virtualized software applications deployed. So things like traffic, pedestrian counting, parking detection, environmental protection, public safety. The list goes on and on and on about the sensor capabilities that are inside. And then the use cases that come out of that are extraordinary when you start thinking about all the different applications that can be built off of all of these data sets, either individually or combined as a sensor fusion.
So you're really saying the key here is between the sensor and the apps that come together.
That's right. So there's one more element too. There's the sensor, the apps that are working together, but then also think about it in the context of street lighting. There are about 65,000 streetlights in the city of San Diego. And so when you think about a streetlight being every 200 feet away, that creates ubiquitous data flow. So sensors, apps, but at a whole new level of density and ubiquity that allows us to get very, very important real-time data.
So now you're talking about bringing real-time data, sensor technology, and the ability to bring information to move traffic flow, pedestrian, all of these kind of elements together. So you're bringing all this technology together quickly in a way that's never been done before.
Absolutely. Quickly, scalably, and with a whole new business model and a whole new sense that allows the city to do this cost effectively.
So what are the short-term and long-term results you hope to achieve from this out of all this real-time data? Because you're collecting a lot of information then, I would assume, from all of this.
Yeah, I think that short-term, there's a couple of really neat benefits. I think that ultimately the city is going to get extraordinary cost savings from just having this infrastructure in place now. If you think about going back to the smartphone example for a second, I don't have to buy a flashlight or an individual cell phone and a GPS device and a PDA device anymore, right? I've got all that consolidated into one device. The city now has parking sensors, environmental sensors, public safety sensors, all consolidated into one device that can be used extensionally. What we hope to see on day one, day two of the deployment of the platform are new citizen services, things like parking guidance, right? Imagine not having to drive around the block 4 or 5 times looking for an on-street parking space, right? You can just pull up an app with your phone and get an app that shows you where all the real-time parking spaces are. Traffic optimization. Imagine not having to sit at a red light when there's no other cars coming by the other direction. The light just knows you're there and it turns green and lets you go through. Environmental quality. Imagine knowing what the temperature, humidity, pressure, air quality is in your region that you live and work and play in the city every day. Public safety, so enabling things as little as pedestrian and bicycle mobility to things as complex and important as gunshot detection. All of these things will be available in the short term. Long term, because this is an open platform, the city is actually going to be able to build new applications on top of it, either themselves or using professional third-party developers, or even the local universities and high school students and entrepreneurs and incubators they're going to be invited to come and build some of the city's future applications as well, that are apps that we haven't even thought of yet.
So Austin, you just described you have to bring a lot of different partners together to do this, to build this, to make this happen. So how long does it take to build this type of infrastructure to make it happen so that the city of San Diego makes this all work? Because it sounds like there's a lot of partners involved in all of this.
Sure. Believe it or not, it doesn't take that much time because it's all done over the air and with software. And so if I can cheat and go back to the smartphone example, think about how quickly the App Store built out with your smartphone device. How many applications are on that App Store now? We're seeing the exact same trend happening in the smart cities world. So we have 50 plus applications with different partners already built on the platform, using the data sets, solving different problems. And we're very, very early into this journey with the city of San Diego. So by the end of the year, we expect to have, close to 5 or 10 apps running on the platform, with another 10 to 20 being looked at as the next evaluation of deployments. And so really it's as fast as the city wants to go, because the data is open, it's out there, it's on their open data portal using our APIs.
So the city, though, ultimately has to look at what it has existing-wise and then what it has to build going on further to be able to do this. Because you're contributing to the software side, but there's so many other things it has to build to make this city go, to make it an intelligent city going on. So those are things that you hope to contribute as it builds into its future, correct?
Correct. So we will continue to recruit application partners. We'll continue to host educational events in the local communities to show how your average citizen can get involved in being part of building the smart city apps of the future. We'll continue to work with city officials to make sure that they've got the most modern tools at their fingertips to use this data. And so we will be hand in hand with the city building this out so that it's not just the city officials that get the benefit and not just the citizens that get the benefit, but that anyone who wants to look at San Diego as the cornerstone can leverage everything built and replicate that across the country or across the world.
Well, we have to thank you so much, Austin Ashe. You are the General Manager for Intelligent Cities. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks, Peggy. It's my pleasure.
All right, well, that's our Innovation in Tech for today. Today's word of the day is LEED. I bet when I say the word, it drums up images of green building projects. But LEED goes a lot deeper than that. In 1998, the U.S. Green Building Council developed the LEED rating system. Today, more than 2.2 million square feet in buildings are LEED certified. The system measures several key performance areas with a goal to verify that the building was designed and built using strategies aimed at achieving high performance. Every 4 years, the LEED rating system is reassessed and open for public comment. The most recent is the LEED v4. This takes a performance-based approach to design, operations, and maintenance, and calls for measurable results throughout a project's life cycle. LEED v4 also brings smart grid thinking to the forefront, and it has an expanded focus on materials and water efficiency. Now, here is one component that I find very interesting. LEED also offers a streamlined documentation process. In the past 2 decades, contractors have been developing an understanding of the rating systems and credits. Now, many are looking at how to get a handle on managing all the documentation required for certification. LEED Online can help manage the progress of a project and its documentation. The web-based portal can share the data with all the project participants. Perhaps you should consider how your technology can help your company take the lead on certification. LEED. Now that's your word of the day. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And thanks for watching Construct Tech TV, where we are talking tech at the job site.